Hi everyone. Today we're talking about everybody's favorite topic, gauge. Well, maybe not everybody's favorite topic, but this one needs to be addressed. Not all yarns knit up the same in circular knitting machines, plus you have different tension and machine differences to consider as well. Because of these variables, one row count doesn't always work for everyone. So in this video, I'll standardize all of these variables, explaining what gauge is, how it applies to machine knitting, how to create and measure a gauge swatch, and then using the cheat sheet patterns. Gauge is just a measurement of your knitting. It's often seen as a number of stitches by number of rows per 4 inches or 10 centimeters. It's measured by counting the number of stitches in rows in a swatch. Gauge is important because it determines the look, the feel, and the size of your project. If gauge is not considered ahead of time, your project will be bigger or smaller than anticipated. Hand knitters and crocheters use it to standardize sizing. This is so you know what size your item will be when finished. If the pattern says it will fit a 36 bust, then it will fit a 36 bust. But if you have a different gauge, then you should expect your finished sweater to have a bigger or smaller bust, shorter or longer sleeves and torso. So in hand knitting or crocheting, we make a sample swatch, and if your measurements are not the same as the designer, we usually change needle or hook sizes, then make another swatch and remeasure. Gauge in machine knitting is different. In machine knitting, we don't have the luxury of changing needle size. It's fixed. We can change tension, but this does not work in all situations, and changing tension doesn't always make for a better knit fabric. Oftentimes I see in comments that they knit 90 rows for a headband, but it's too small or too big. This is because your gauge is different than the designer of the headband. This could be the difference in yarn, tension, machine, or all three. I've knit some samples for you. All of these samples are knit with 50 rows on tight tension. The first is I Love This Yarn, and it measures 15 stitches by 22 rows. Next is Big Twist, and this measures 15 stitches by 21 rows, and you can see it is longer. This is Premier DK yarn. It measures 15 stitches by 20 rows. And the last is Karen Simply Soft. It measures 15 stitches and 19 rows. These samples show a gradual increase in overall length, but this small difference adds up the more rows you knit. So if a designer used that 90 rows of I Love This Yarn for a headband, and you made the same headband using Karen Simply Soft, your headband would be 2.5 inches longer than the designer. Changing tension can also affect the length, but it also affects the width. These two samples were knit with 50 rows each, but the one on the left was knit with tight tension and the one on the right with medium tension. You can see the length is different as well as the width. I would consider both of these fabrics acceptable in look and feel. So depending on your project, you may want to use a medium tension over a tight tension, or vice versa. So here's another sample using tight and medium tension. Again, the one on the left is tight, the one on the right is medium. And again, the length and the width is different. However, the look and feel of the medium tension is not great, and I probably wouldn't use that for a project. So let's make a swatch and measure it. Cast on your project yarn and knit a minimum of 35 rows. I'm going to knit 50 rows to keep the samples the same. When knitting these rows, knit as you normally would. Oftentimes I would get a new yarn and I will make two swatches with two different tensions. This allows me to see how the fabric looks and feels and the difference in length and width. So after 50 rows, don't cut the working yarn, just place it in the middle of the machine. Then take a piece of scrap yarn, about 24 inches, and bind off. This allows me to reuse this yarn after I get my measurements. If you are using a natural fiber, cast on and bind off with waste yarn, then slip stitch the ends closed. This allows you to measure the gauge after you have blocked the swatch. I usually cinch the ends a little bit so they don't curl, and then stretch the fabric in both directions. And the important part is to let this sit for about 15 minutes to relax. Now we are ready to measure. It's important to not stretch the swatch, otherwise you will need to let it sit again. So using your gauge ruler, simply place the ruler on the fabric. Align a column of stitches with the side of the ruler, and then align the ruler with the bottom of a V-stitch. Then count the number of rows from bottom to top or top to bottom inside the opening. And on this one I have 20 rows. Then we'll count the number of stitches going across. And I have 15 stitches. So my piece measures 15 stitches in 20 rows and 4 inches or 10 centimeters. The cheat sheet patterns are based on row gauge. For this swatch, the row gauge is 20. Another way to do this is to use a tape measure and some pins. So place your pin in one row above and then place the other pin one row below so that what is between the pins is 4 inches. And then you would just count those rows. And then you can measure the stitches. I place one pin in between a column of stitches and measure over and place the second pin just outside of the 4-inch mark. Now note, this could be a half a stitch here. Mine ended up being right in the middle of 2 columns. So if you are using yarn that is difficult to see the stitches, like a eyelash yarn or a fuzzy yarn, what you can do is measure the overall length of the tube. Then just using some simple math, we'll take the total number of rows divided by the length of the tube equals rows per inch, and you multiply that by 4, and this equals your row gauge. Once you have your row gauge, you're ready to start your project. I make it very easy for you to know exactly how many rows you need for certain projects. The biggest advantages to these charts is that you can use any yarn you wish as long as it works in your machine. Once you have your row gauge, the cheat sheets tell you the row counts. I also include a gauge list sheet with my patterns so you can keep track of your gauges per yarn. This does save some time, but occasionally I will find some colors of the same brand and line that do not work up the same, and I will have to recreate a new gauge swatch. I would recommend recording the tension and width of the tube as well. The width of the tube will come in handy when trying to calculate how many tubes you need for a larger project like a sweater or a blanket. You'll notice that this sheet is for the 46 needle machine. Not all machines will knit the same, especially the 32 and 40 needles. These machines use different size needles, so it's best to swatch for each machine. This is a blanked out copy of one of my cheat sheets. The cheat sheets start with gauge 15 and go through 26. For each gauge, you'll find all of the sizes for the pattern and the different styles. So on this beanie cheat sheet, if I wanted to make a hat using my gauge 19 yarn, I would find gauge 19 in the left-hand column and then go over to the size that I want. And then up across the top, I have the different styles, and I want the 2-color. So I just follow that column down, and I would use these 2 numbers for my row count. It also has a 3-color and a solid color as well. So all of my cheat sheets work in the same way. So if you have a yarn that is gauge 19, that same yarn can be used to make a gauge 19 hat, a gauge 19 headband, or even a gauge 19 double brim hat, or any cheat sheet project. Another benefit to the cheat sheets is that if you're using two different yarns with two different gauges, you can easily use both gauges. For example, if I have two yarns and one is gauge 19 and one is gauge 20, I want the gauge 20 to be the top portion of my hat and the gauge 19 is the brim and liner. I would use the gauge 20 row count for the top of the hat, and then I would use gauge 19 for the brim and the liner. So these two row counts create a total new row count, but it will still be the correct length for this two different gauge hat. So speaking of mixing yarns, my personal preference is not mixing yarns that are two or more gauges apart. The differences that you see in the knitted fabric is too great. They just don't look the same. The width of the fabric is also noticeably different and the stitches won't look uniform. So I recommend staying one gauge apart, like 19 and 20 or 18 and 19, and stay away from 18 and 20 or 19 and 21. Sometimes you can adjust the tension to bring these two gauges closer together in size. So gauge is just a measurement of your knitting. You can use this to your advantage when working with circular knitting machines. Creating a swatch is easy and saves time over having to make several samples just to find the right size. So once you understand knitting machine gauge, you'll be able to create projects that fit, you'll be able to adjust patterns to different sizes, and design your own patterns. Now you know how to use gauge with your knitting machine and create and measure swatches. So I'm curious, do you gauge swatch for knitting machine projects? Drop a comment below. I'll link below to both my Etsy and Ravelry shops where you can find all my cheat sheet patterns. Thanks for watching.